Hello friends, welcome back to Student Blog. In this series of DevOps training, we'll be looking at what is Git, what is GitHub, and how we are going to use as a as a part of CDCA pipeline. So let's proceed. So we were discussing in our previous videos about CDCA pipeline. As a recap, I'm just thought of sharing this before we start with Git and all stuff. So this is a CDCA pipeline where it starts from developer developing code and ends with deploying it on the production. So using Jenkins we can do, and we do have another tools to do this. So we'll be working on that in upcoming videos. So this one is like tools we use in different stages. So today we'll be looking at Git, and we'll be traveling with Git for a couple of videos. Then we'll go for other stuff. So this is just a overview, like what all tools can be used in the CDCA pipeline. So next screen, like we can see, like we was looking at this chart from the beginning. So when a developer writes a code, and he stores that in a storage area. So that will be pushed to that will be built and packaged and send it to the deployment, and then to the production or QA or test environment. So each stage will be using different tools. So here maybe developer may use a Java as an and a developer as a Java or .NET, any application he may use to develop the code. But when we deploy to the production, that will be converted to a var file or packaged, what you call packaged as MSI, maybe different different versions, like different types. It may be packaged based on your product environment. So we will be talking it, discussing, and we'll be traveling to go through more at this stage. So now we are using Git and GitHub also. So we will discuss what is Git, what is GitHub. So in this video, I am also going to show some tools which makes our life easier compared to historical, like download a file, install it on a computer. We'll follow some better ways which will get down our work. So will be discussing all in this video. So you have a lot of questions on your mind. So what is this Git? Actually, what is this storage area? So what is it? What is Git? What is version control? What is distributed version control? Why should we use it? So what is GitHub? Is Git and GitHub both are same? Like who created this Git? All stuff we'll be discussing. So like first of all, the question is what is Git, and why should we use it? So Git is a distributed version control system, tracking changes in any of the files, usually used for coordinating work among programmers, collaboratively developing source code during software development. Its goals include speed, data integrity, and support for distributed non-linear workflows, like thousands of parallel branches running on different systems. So we can interact with Git from the command line. We use Git to commit changes to our project. These commits serve as snapshots in time of the project. A project that uses Git has a complete history of code changes made throughout its existence, which can be powerful if you want to look at the origin of a bug, or if you want to revert it to an older version of a project. Git is used throughout the software development community, not only for web developers. It gives developers a robust way to collaborate, share, and maintain code bases. So like we discussed couple of times in this. So if a for example a developer wrote a code and it was pushed to the test environment, and before like version 1 was already existing here, and they pushed a version 2 and version 2 of that application, and there is some bug. So all these the storage area will have the version control, like which version is what, and version 2 is having a bug, immediately they can pull the version 1 from the storage, and storage that is Git or GitHub, and they can deploy it without any outage. So no, so you are talking about version control. So what is version control actually? Version control is a program or a set of programs that tracks changes to a collection of files. One goal of a version control is to easily recall earlier version of individual files or of the project or entire project. Another goal is to allow several team members to work on project even on the same files at the same time without affecting each other's work. Another name for VCS is software configuration management, that is SCM system. The two terms of often are used interchangeable. Technically, version control is just one of the practice involved in SCM. A VCS can be used for projects other than software, including books and online tutorials. So for upcoming PowerPoint presentation, we will discuss what is the advantages of version control. We'll look at some pictures and we'll discuss. So with the VCS version control, what we can see all the changes made to the project, when the changes were made, like who made them, at what time, what date it was made, all stuff we can see. Includes a message with each change to explain the reasoning behind it. So whenever somebody change something in the code, they need to put a comment saying that this is the reason we are doing this change. So that will be available. It is easy to understand why Mr. X has done the code changes, or Mr. Y has done some changes. So that is advantage. Retrieve past version of the entire project or of individual files. Create branches where changes can be made experimentally. So we can create branches where we can do some changes, like doing some experiments, and we can roll back. This feature allows us several different sets of changes, for example features or bug fixes, to be worked on at the same time, possibly by different people without affecting the main branch. You can merge the changes you want to keep back into the main branch. So we can attach a tag to a version, just like a bookmark. So Git is a fast, versatile, and high scalable, free open source. It's like it was the author who wrote who created the Git was Linus Torvalds. He is the one who created Linux operating system. 70% of the people use Git because it is a trusted application, open source application. Talking about the distributed version control system, Git is also called distributed version control system because earlier, instead of VCS, like virtual control systems including CVS, Subversion, and Perforce, used a centralized server to store a project's history. Centralized means that one server can also potentially a single point of failure. Like for example, if you have a server where you are storing the code, and that is accessed, if that server goes down, then the code also gone. So Git is distributed, which means that a project's complete history is stored both on the client as well as on the server. You can edit files without a network connection, check them in locally, and sync with the server when a connection becomes available. If a server go down, you still have a local copy of the project. technically you don't even have to have a server. Changes can be passed around in email or shared by using removable media, but no one uses Git in this way in practice. So let me make you understand more clearly or easily. So you guys, whenever I believe most of the people, when they you have used uTorrents to download movies, all stuff, you may seen that peer connections with the different country flags. So when you try to download a movie, the uTorrent software, small application be installed on your laptop or desktop. When you try to download a movie, it will download from X peer, and it will be available on your laptop, and your laptop will be asked as a peer to the uTorrent. So when Mr. X, for example, source X is down, your peer will be active, and that movie will be uploaded, or somebody is trying to download, it will take that movie from your laptop. So like that, multiple users, when they try to download the torrent pair, a movie or something like that, what happens is all laptops or desktops, so they are connected as a pair to the uTorrent, and the movie will be available for on that particular site. So based on the speed of the internet, for example, if one guy's internet speed is high, a 600 MB movie downloads in seconds or minutes, like 1 or 2 minutes. If guys net is slow, it will take more time based on the peer's internet speed. So though it's like it works as a distributed version control, something like that, and you can see it is a primary example how a distributed version system works. So next comes, what is GitHub, and why should we use it? So we may have a question, is that GitHub and Git both are same? No, both not same. First of all, we see what is GitHub. GitHub is an online software development platform. It's used for storing, tracking, and collaborating on software projects. It makes it easy for developers to share code files and collaborate with fellow developers on open source projects. GitHub also serves as a social networking site where developers can openly network, collaborate, and pitch their work. So whatever Git we are discussing, that's completely on your laptop or within the network. But GitHub comes as it's a globally available storage where when you configure, you can directly share your code on the GitHub repository, and your colleagues or your team members can directly pull from that available GitHub repository. So we had the question is is Git and GitHub both are same? Both, despite their name, their similar name, Git and GitHub are not the same. They work together, but they are their own distinct piece. Git allows us to save specific version of our work in local repository on our computer. GitHub is an online Git project repository hosting service, which means it holds the directories that contain all the files and folders that make up our projects. GitHub also allows teams to work seamlessly together on the same code base. Everyone on a team can pull down a local version of the repo on GitHub, and then as work is done, the code is committed and pushed to the developer's local repository and added to the repo on GitHub. So I believe you guys understood what it is. So who created it? We already discussed about this. Linus Torvalds created it. And who owns GitHub now? So GitHub was acquired by Microsoft 4 years back, and still it is running as before. No changes happened. So this is a little bit briefing about Git and GitHub. So like a Git vocabulary or terminology we use when we work on Git version control system, that is VCS. DCVS is a distributed version control system. Git most commonly used as VCS. GitHub, so we discussed about repository is nothing but collection of code managed by Git. And work area, storing, staging area, commit, these we will discuss. So work area is where untracked and unstaged files live. Staging area is where staged files lives, and commit, a snapshot of what your code looks like at a particular time. Remote is remote as in a remote repository, not a local repository. A remote is a repository that stores somewhere that's not on your laptop or local machine or desktop. So feature branch, a branch created to hold a new feature while it's on development, as opposed to committing parts of unfinished feature on master. And the pull request is like a request to merge a branch into a default branch. Usually master allows for control of merge process as well as providing a place to review changes. So we will discuss all when you work. Maybe when you are working, you don't know that you're working on a working stage until you run a command. So we'll discuss on this. And let's go to next slide. Okay, so here scenario before a Git, when before Git was not there, how it used to be. And if you see here, it's your network, and this is a centralized server where developers will write a code and they will save it here, and it will be shared with other developer. And there is no version control system available, who is doing what. And even if it is like a shared folder on a Windows server, if developer 1 writes a code and developer 2 tries to write a code, access that code, it will be in a read-only mode because it was already opened by a developer 1. And even if he closes and he opens it again, it will be writable, but whatever he writes, it will overwrite the developer 1's code. And if the server goes offline, no one can access that one. So these are the disadvantages here. Even though if you have an a redundancy backup, it will take a lot of time, and it is time consuming. So after Git, when Git came into picture, it's like if you see here, it's a Git is a distributed version control system. So the advantage is every developer has their own code, has an entire code of the code on their system. They will have their own code on the system, and they can push it to the storage Git distributed server, and that can be accessed at same time. So any changes made to the code is easily tracked, because whenever they commit, they need to it will record the time, date, time, and who done the changes. It will be tagged with that particular changes. So, and this is open source, and if it is a like GitHub, then no need of server also. So coming to the features of Git, tracks history, it's a free and open source, supports non-linear development, creates backups, scalable, supports collaboration, branching is easier, and it's a distributed development. So it's pretty simple to understand this terminology, so no need to explain, I believe. So this is Git flow, how it works. Like you can see here, edit, add, move files, modify working copy, then review changes, you can using the push like command status, when you run git status, it will show the like a difference. And if you type git diff, it shows the difference between two files. And commit, like review changes, and when you commit and push operation, it will be saved to the repository. So these are all will be very much familiar when you start working on the git. So this is a git workflow. So we are discussing, we will be having three stages. So working directory, staging area, and git repository. So this will be on this entire three stages will be done on your local computer. It will be having 5 stages actually, but we'll be discussing only 3 stages for now. So if you see here, working directory to staging area, like stage files, when you commit, it will be saved on your repository. So working directory, like modify files in your working directory. Staging area is or index, stage the files and add snapshot of them to your staging area. And last is git directory or a repository, we call it as repository. Perform a commit that stores the snapshots permanently to your git directory. So next is a branch in git. So branch in git is used to keep your changes until they are ready. You can do your work on a branch while the main branch remains stable. And after you are done with your work, you can merge it with the main office. So here, if you see here, we can see there is a master branch. There are 2 separate branches called small and a large feature. Once you are finished working with the 2 separate branches, you can merge them with and create a master branch. So I'm just sharing this just to make understand more easier. So these are the commands which we use in git, like git init is for initiating or creating repositories, and make changes. These are all comes under create repositories, like make changes, add, commit. These are all commands. Status, to see the status of the commit or of the git. And parallel development, like branch, merge, rebase, sync, like syncing with the global repository, like we'll be using push, pull, add origin. These are commands we'll be using. And like going we will go and do some practicals. So Chocolatey, so this is something not related to git, but as part of my training, I just thought of sharing some free tools which make your life more easy. Like if you want to install a git, a normal process, generally you need to go to git repository or git site. You need to download the executable, and then you need to go download it and run as admin, click next, accept license, finish. We need to do all stuff. Like for git, for Jenkins, any tool you install, you need to go to follow the same process. Next, accept license, next, finish, all stuff. Using Chocolatey tool, using this, it's a open source, so pretty simple. Once you install it on your laptop or server, using some commands, any tool or any application, using one command you can download and install it without any manual intervention. Directly run the command and it will take off installing the application. So if you have 100 servers and if you already installed Chocolatey on 100 servers, it will be more easier for you to using Terraform or any automation applications like Ansible or Puppet. It will be easy to push one command to Chocolatey and install whatever application on 100 servers or 1000 servers. It will take just 1 or 2 minutes. So let me take you to the server which I built, and we'll try to install Chocolatey. Then we'll try to install Git using Chocolatey, and then we will install Visual Studio Code. So talking about Visual Studio Code, we can write some small programs or code, and we can like going forward we will be using Docker containers or Kubernetes, all this stuff where we will write some code using Visual Studio. If you install that plugin in the Visual Studio for Docker, Docker code will have a format. Visual Studio will help you to get that format when you are trying to write a code. Syntax, like for Kubernetes there will be a syntax, so it will help you to correct the syntax. If syntax is wrong, it will help you to fix it. Anything like we'll like, as we are traveling together, we'll be using Visual Studio Code, and we'll be working on that. This is also very useful tool. It is also a free tool. So all these we'll be installing it. So then we'll go for then again we'll come back to Git. So let's go to our server. Okay, so this is my Windows server where like I will install Chocolatey. So let me show you, take you to the Chocolatey website, and so this is the Chocolatey where we need to execute this PowerShell command. Pretty simple. Go to the PowerShell and open it as administrator. So we need to copy and paste this command. So what it will do is it will download the installer from Chocolatey website and it will install it. Pretty simple. So next, no need of next, finish. One click, it will download and install Chocolatey as a first step. So now it is getting installed. So we are not doing anything, just we done it. So we may require a reboot, but it's not required here. So now it is installed. Okay, so let me check. Maybe I need to close it and open it one more time. Okay. So now we are able to see Choco 1.2.0 is installed. Now we will install Visual Studio Code. So if you want to install it, no need, pretty simple, no need to remember any commands. Just go to Google and type Choco install. So I know the command, but Visual Studio Code. So it will, when you click this one, it will give the command. Okay, just you need to copy this. So before that, let me Choco install Git. Okay, so when you go here, the command will be available in the site. Pretty simple. So just copy that command, paste it here, and -y is to answer all the questions. If anything it's asking, press enter, then it will start installing Git now. So we can do this from remote also, like using some tools, and we can install on a number of servers. So if you see here, it's approved and it's getting installed. If you don't give -y, sometimes it will ask you want to proceed. or select all to continue all stuff. So when you give -y, it will install without asking any questions. So Git is getting installed now. Once it is completed, you will be able to see the completion. So you can see that Chocolatey installed all 4 packages, and Git is installed successfully. So generally most of the time when it is done, better to close your PowerShell window and open it, or you can run command refresh environment .cmd to refresh the environment variables in the registry. So this is done. Let me try to run some commands to see if it installed or not. Git version. Okay, so we need to close it and open it again to see. Maybe I'm putting some wrong command. Git. Oh. What is that I'm doing wrong? Okay, let me try something new. Okay, it should work. So here when you see, generally if Git is not installed, you will be able to see, don't see these two, like Git UI or Git bash. So when you are going for a as a developer, better to use Git hash, not Git UBI GUI. So always do that one. And let me create one folder here, and just open Git bash here. Minimize this or just keep it aside. So now this is a terminal, just like a Linux terminal, where you are able to see it. So run Git version here. So you are able to see version 2.38.1 is available, and let me take you to the here where we are. So we are in Chocolatey. Okay, we done with Chocolatey, Visual Studio, all stuff. So no, we didn't done Visual Studio. Let me try. Okay, so 1 second. Okay, so Chocolatey is done. Then to install Git, we use Chocolatey, just Choco install Git. If it is Ubuntu server, you need to run the apt-get install Git. So in the console, like in the terminal for the Ubuntu, and it will get installed. We will work on these all in upcoming videos. And if it is a Linux server, you will be using command yum install Git. If you want to go with the normal like a normal process, like download 32-bit or 64-bit and in double click it and accept the license, next finish, you can get it from here. And Visual Studio Code, Choco install Visual Studio VS Code, that we need to do it. So these are the commands we'll be using it. Let me take back to the server. Okay, so I believe we didn't install the Visual Studio Code. Okay, go to PowerShell and as administrator, then Choco install sudo -y. So it's now installing Visual Studio also, Visual Studio Code. Don't take much time, it will be faster. So without any our intervention, like it is taking care of everything. So here like let's see. So as discussed, we have three stages, like working area, staging area, and repository. So whenever from working area you need to working area is where you can see here where unsaved files lives. So when you want to stage them, where files staging area where files that are going to be part of the next commit live. So when you run the command git add with a message, that will be sent to the staging area, and when you want to commit or save the say existing branch to the repository, so what you need to run is git commit -m and a message, so that it will be saved. So for each stage you will be able to see who done it at what time, and at a message. So the repository, the files get knows about, contains all your commits. When user commits, committing will take two factors. As I said, it's not two, actually it's three factors, like at what time and date it was committed, who committed it, and message along with changes and commit changes. So it will be a little bit confusion, but yeah, we'll look into it. So working on it. So our package is installed, Visual Studio Code, we are good now. So if you see here, like there is nothing in it, right? We have created a folder which is your repository, local repository for this. So before we initiate git, there is nothing here. Let's initiate it first. Git init, git initiation is nothing but initialize an empty repository. So it is initiated, and you are able to see when as master here. So before it was like just a folder, now it is a repository, git repository. So you won't see anything, right? So when you go to view and select hidden items, you are able to see the .git folder, a hidden folder, and this is the actual repository which holds everything. So we will discuss about these all in upcoming videos. For now, this is a basic video, so basic training. So we'll proceed with understanding the branches and all stuff. So now we have created the repository, and here now we need to create a file. Okay, so I will be using Visual Studio. For that, just type code, and dot is for representing the selecting the present directory, that is DevOps. So I'm running this from here, so a dot will take you there. Okay, what is that? Something is missing. Okay, hold on, let me fix it. Okay, so actually the problem was we installed the Visual Studio after we we opened this terminal, and later we installed the Visual Studio. That is the reason we are unable to open the code, Visual Studio Code. Now I just close this terminal, open it again and tried it. So if you type code dot, because the environment variable was not refreshed, so when we close and reopen it, that will be refreshed, and we are able to open the Visual Code now. Okay, so we are able to open the Visual Code here now, and this is the present present folder where we are going to create a file. I'm going to create a text file with the name, some new message .txt. So now I have created it, and I'm putting a command, first command, and I will save it. Okay, we'll keep it aside here. So now we have created a new file. Okay, and now we will see, we will run the command git status. So you're able to see that file name in red color, and it says that use the git add to include in what will be committed. So this is in staging now, so nothing added to the command, but untracked files, git add. Until you put a git add command, it won't track anything. So now if you look at the if you look at this, from working area to staging area, we have moved. We have created a file in working area, and to move to the staging area, we need to add it, like git add with a command, with a message. It will be added to the staging area. So now, before we do this one, what we'll do is, like, we need to configure your username and mail ID before, because whoever is committing, like when you commit it without either username and mail ID, if you commit it, it will say that no global config was configured. So to avoid that, we need to configure username and mail ID. So let me show this one. So here, once you insert git, like this is the one time, so just you need to create your you need to run this command, and then your mail ID you need to configure it, then you are good. Whenever you commit, you'll be able to track the user who committed it. So let's do it. Git config global user dot name student blog. If you want to check whether it is configured properly or not, just run this one, and you are able to see student blog. So same thing for mail ID, global user dot email student blog @gmail.com. Let me check whether it is registered properly or not. Okay, we are good now. So now we configured git config is done now for my username and my mail ID. So next step is, like, we need to add, right? Git add. So git add new, we have created a file, right? A new message .txt. Okay, so now it is created. So if you run the command git status, now you can see that my file color changed from red to green, and you can see here, like, now it is in stage, changes has been committed, and it's in a staging state now. It in staging staging stage, and to to save it to the repository, we need to run the command git commit. We call it as commit with a message, first commit, something, anything you can put, whatever the change you are doing. So just press enter. Now we can see that created created mode 100644 new file.txt. So when you see that, again you run git status, so there is nothing to commit, working tree clean. Okay, and when you run the command git log to check the history, so you are able to see that author is vstudentblog, and a mail id is username is vstudentblog, and mail id is my vstudentblog at gmail.com, and date is November 26th 12:53, so 12:53 p.m. so this is sent PST. So we discussed, right, like 3 factors will be added when we commit. One is author name, one is author's mail id, date and time. So for example, if you go here, okay, let me, it's already opened. Okay, I'm adding another line. I will save it. Now when I run git status, again my file is showing as red. So you can see here git add to update what will be committed. Okay, so use git restore. For example, this is my second this thing, so you want to restore from the first change, we can do that. We will work on all stuff in upcoming videos, but for now we are just doing the basics. So now we'll use git create message, create new what I'm doing, git add new message txt. Now if you run git status, it will say that you are able to see it's modified and it's in green color. Okay, the previously it was in red, now it is in green, and changes to be committed, or you can restore it on the branch. So when you run git status, it says on the branch changes has to be committed. Okay, so we'll run git commit -m second commit. Now it is committed, and it is saved to repository, and when you run git log, you will be able to see the first commit. You can see here first commit was at 12:53, and the second commit is at 12:56. So this is called version controlling, and if this is on GitHub repository, then it will be a distributed version controlling. And in our next video we'll be looking at how to register and how to create a repository globally, like on GitHub. So now till now we are just working on local repository. So next we'll create an user in the GitHub and global repository, and we'll work on it. That's all for this video. I believe this video is informative. For as always, you guys can reach out to me on my mail ID, and please do subscribe and like my videos. That will motivate me to make more videos. And also I'm just about to start training on Azure, so I will be doing an in-depth training covering AZ 900 and AZ 104 certifications, like which will the help our friends to get some support to complete the trainings. So I will be covering them deeply on Azure. So we'll be working on a couple of tools as well. So please subscribe and like my videos. Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye bye.